February 18, 1943. 11:47 p.m. North Atlantic, west of the Bay of Biscay. The moon hangs low and sharp, cutting a silver path across black water. You can almost feel the cold before anyone says a word. On the bridge of a lone Allied destroyer, the wind slashes through wool coats and exposed skin. Sea spray freezes on steel railings. Below, the engines thrum at a cautious speed, just fast enough to move, just slow enough not to announce themselves. Every man aboard knows the truth, even if no one says it out loud. This mission was never supposed to come back. Lieutenant Commander Frederick John Walker, Royal Navy, stands near the compass repeater, binoculars raised, jaw clenched so tight his teeth ache. 46 years old. Too old, some say, for this kind of hunt. Too obsessive, others whisper. He doesn't hear any of it now. All he hears is the sea. Somewhere out there, beneath that moonlit surface, German U-boats are moving. Silent, patient, deadly. Wolves in steel skin, waiting for convoys, waiting for mistakes, waiting for men like Walker to slip just once. Earlier that day, in a cramped briefing room back in port, an officer had said it plainly. "This is a suicide patrol." Night anti-submarine warfare was still considered madness in 1943. Sonar was crude. Radar was unreliable over rough seas. Depth charges were blunt instruments. And moonlight? Moonlight helped the enemy as much as it helped you. Sometimes more. Most commanders preferred daylight hunts. Visibility, coordination, control. Walker had asked for the night. He had asked for moonlight. Now he stands here, shoulders squared, eyes scanning the glow-reflected waves, waiting for the ocean to betray its secrets. Behind him, sailors murmur in low voices. Someone coughs. Someone else tightens a scarf. No one jokes. No one smokes. Even the usual superstition, lucky charms, quiet prayers, feels heavier tonight. The destroyer is part of 2nd Support Group, an elite anti-submarine unit Walker personally shaped, not convoy escort. Hunters. Their job is not to protect ships, but to find U-boats and kill them. Relentlessly. For days, they've been stalking faint contacts, broken sonar echoes, fleeting radar shadows. German submarines are slipping out of French ports, heading for the Atlantic lanes, where Allied merchant ships are already dying faster than they can be replaced. Every hour matters. Every submarine sunk saves hundreds of lives Walker will never see. He lowers the binoculars. "Slow to 5 knots, he says quietly. The helmsman repeats the order. The engines ease back. The ship seems to hold its breath. Walker knows the risks better than anyone aboard. At night, a U-boat captain can surface to recharge batteries, run faster than a submerged destroyer, even fire torpedoes from close range before vanishing again. A single mistake, one misread contact, one delayed turn, and this ship could be ripped open. He was warned. Rear Admiral Max Horton himself had raised an eyebrow when Walker proposed aggressive night surface attacks. "You'll be fighting ghosts," Horton said. Walker didn't argue. He never does. He just prepares. Months earlier, he had drilled his crews obsessively. New tactics. Continuous attacks. No pauses. No mercy. If sonar contact was lost, they'd circle. If depth charges failed, they'd try again. And again. And again. "Keep them down," Walker had told his officers. "Force them to make mistakes." Tonight, he intends to force 4 of them. The first sign comes as a whisper. "Radar contact, bearing 095. The radar operator's voice cracks slightly. He clears his throat. "Range, 3,000 yards. Walker steps forward instantly. No hesitation. No excitement. "Confirm." Another pause. Contact intermittent, sir. Intermittent means periscope, or conning tower, or just a trick of the sea. Walker looks up at the moon. Too bright. Too perfect. If a U-boat is out there, it can see them too. Sound general quarters, he orders. The alarm bell shatters the silence. Boots pound steel decks. Men rush to stations they've practiced reaching in the dark, half asleep, under fire. Depth charge crews move aft. Sonar pings begin to pulse. Sharp, metallic heartbeats echoing through the hull. Ping. Ping. Then, strong contact. Bearing steady. Walker's grip tightens on the railing. Helm, come to 100. Prepare attack pattern. This is it. The moment every man aboard knew was coming. If the contact is real, they are seconds from engagement. If it's false, they'll give away their position in enemy-infested waters. And if Walker is wrong? The ocean doesn't forgive mistakes. The destroyer turns. The moonlight ripples across the bow. Somewhere below, a German captain may be staring through a periscope, realizing too late that the hunter has found him. Walker doesn't blink. He waits for the exact second. Then he raises his hand. Stand by! Stand by! The sonar grows stronger. Closer. Too close. Now! Walker says. The first depth charges roll off the stern, vanishing into the black water. 3 seconds pass. 4. 5. The sea erupts. A deep, concussive thud punches up through the hull. Then another. And another. The ship shudders as if struck by a giant fist. Men grab rails. Tools rattle. The smell of cordite and salt floods the air. Silence follows. No cheering. No relief. Walker watches the water. Oil begins to spread. Slowly. Deliberately. But he knows better than to trust it. One U-boat might be damaged. Or pretending to be dead. And somewhere in this moonlit ocean, others are still hunting. Walker lowers his hand. Keep searching, he says. Because this night is far from over, and the impossible mission has only just begun. The oil slick widens. It stretches across the moonlit surface like a wound refusing to close, dark and shimmering, smelling of diesel and death. Sailors lean over the rails to spite themselves, searching for wreckage, bodies, anything that confirms the kill. Walker doesn't move. Oil can lie. Air bubbles can lie. Even debris can lie. German U-boat captains know the tricks too. Maintain sonar contact, he orders calmly. Do not assume. Below decks, the sonar room hums with tension. Headphones press hard against ears. Operators listen not just for echoes, but for absence. The hollow silence where a submarine should be if it's gone forever. Ping. Ping. Then, nothing. The contact dissolves. One operator swallows. Lost contact, sir. For a moment, the bridge is perfectly still. Walker exhales through his nose. Circle back. Slow. The destroyer arcs through the water, engines murmuring, depth charge racks reloaded with mechanical precision. Every man aboard knows what this means. If the U-boat survived, it's wounded, trapped, desperate. That's when U-boats are most dangerous. Below the surface, in crushing darkness, Captain Lieutenant Hans Muller, U-boat U-202, is fighting his own war. The explosion shattered light bulbs, sent men flying, cracked gauges. Seawater leaks through hairline fractures in the hull. The boat groans like a living thing under pressure. Silent running, Muller hisses. Batteries are low. Air is foul. Men sweat despite the cold. The boat sinks deeper, hoping pressure will do what depth charges could not, drive the destroyer away. But the pings return. Closer now. Muller grips the periscope handles though he dares not raise it. The British commander isn't leaving. He isn't giving the sea time to heal. He's circling like a shark. On the surface, Walker studies the plot. He knows this pattern. A damaged submarine will try to settle beneath the thermocline, using layers of water temperature to distort sonar returns. Adjust depth charges, he says. Shallow pattern. Then deep. An unusual order. Risky. It means splitting the attack, gambling that the U-boat is neither too high nor too low, but exactly where Walker believes it must be. The crew executes without question. Depth charges roll again. The sea detonates in violent succession. Shockwaves hammer upward. The destroyer shivers. Men brace themselves. Below, inside U-202, a seam bursts. Water sprays in a white arc. Men scramble with rags and wedges. The lights flicker, then die. Only red emergency lamps remain. The boat lurches. Muller knows the truth now. This British commander is different. He's not leaving, Muller mutters. He makes the only choice left. Blow ballast. Emergency surface. If they can break the surface, even briefly, they might escape at speed, or at least fight. Above, Walker sees it before anyone else. Sonar, rapid ascent. Contact rising fast, sir. Walker doesn't hesitate. Hard to starboard. All ahead full. Illuminate. The searchlight snaps on, slicing the night open. The ocean explodes upward as U-202 breaches the surface, water cascading off its hull, conning tower glistening under the moon. German sailors spill onto the deck, blinking, disoriented, scrambling for the deck gun. They never get the chance. Open fire! The destroyer's guns thunder. Shells slam into steel. The U-boat's deck erupts in sparks and flame. Men fall. Metal screams. Within seconds, it's over. U-202 slips back beneath the waves, this time for good. A cheer rises, but Walker raises his hand. Enough. Because even as the wreckage sinks, new radar returns flicker to life. Multiple. Sir, I'm picking up another contact. And another. Walker turns slowly. 3 blips. 3 submarines. They've been watching, learning, waiting for him to commit. This is what the admirals feared. Multiple U-boats coordinating at night. A wolfpack trap. Walker studies the moon again. Still bright. Still unforgiving. If he retreats now, the U-boats escape, and tomorrow, convoys will burn. If he stays, he risks everything. He thinks of the merchant sailors he's never met. Of freezing men clinging to wreckage weeks from now. Of letters never delivered. Signal the group, Walker says. We hunt. The destroyers spread out, shadows slicing across moonlit water. Sonar pings overlap, creating a lethal web beneath the surface. Below, in U-boat U-264, Captain Lieutenant Otto Reinhardt listens to the pings growing louder. He expected caution, hesitation. Instead, the British are charging straight into the dark. This is madness, one officer whispers. Reinhardt isn't so sure. Mean, he says quietly. This is a man who believes night belongs to him. Depth charges detonate again. And again. Water crushes steel. Instruments fail. The hull screams. U-264 dives, but too late. A catastrophic explosion snaps the submarine in two. On the surface, debris and bodies burst upward, illuminated by moonlight and fire. Walker watches in silence. 2 submarines gone. 2 still unaccounted for. Fuel is burning. Ammunition is dropping. Men are exhausted. And somewhere beneath the waves, the remaining U-boat commanders are realizing the same terrifying truth. This is no suicide mission. This is a slaughter. Walker grips the railing, eyes fixed on the dark water. Keep pressing, he says, because the night hasn't finished answering yet. The moon begins to sink toward the western horizon. Its light dulls, turning silver into ash, but the ocean remains cruelly visible, every wave crest a potential hiding place, every shadow a lie. The destroyers of Second Support Group cut through the water in widening arcs, engines straining, crews running on adrenaline and discipline alone. 2 U-boats destroyed, 2 still alive. And now, the Germans adapt. In the sonar room, the rhythm changes. Contact fading. No, wait, multiple echoes. That's not fear in the operator's voice. It's confusion. Walker knows what that means. Decoys. The Germans have begun ejecting bold canisters, chemical devices that create false sonar returns, turning the sea into a hall of mirrors. Don't chase ghosts, Walker says sharply. Look for movement. Look for intent. But even he feels it now, the shift in the hunt. Below the surface, Captain Lieutenant Carl Fisher, commanding U-445, is calm in a way that frightens his crew. He has watched 2 comrades die in less than an hour. He understands exactly what kind of enemy he faces. And he plans to kill him. Rig tubes 1 and 2, Fisher orders. We fire on the surface. It's a gamble bordering on insanity. Surface attacks at night expose a U-boat completely, but the moonlight that helped Walker hunt now becomes Fisher's weapon. U-445 rises slowly, silently, just enough for the conning tower to break the surface. Through binoculars, Fisher sees the British destroyer, searchlights off now, confident, predatory. He waits for the perfect angle. Inside the destroyer, a lookout squints into the darkness. Sir, something off the port bow. The words barely leave his mouth. Torpedo in the water. White wakes slice across the moonlit sea. Hard to starboard. Full ahead. Walker shouts. The destroyer heels violently. Men are thrown against bulkheads. One torpedo passes so close it rattles teeth. Another explodes just off the stern, sending a column of water high into the air. For the first time tonight, death feels close enough to touch. Walker steadies himself, eyes burning. There, he says. She showed herself. Searchlights snap on. U-445 is caught in sudden brilliance, her hull stark and exposed, crew scrambling. Open fire! Guns roar. Tracers tear through the night. The U-boat answers with its deck gun, shells screaming past the bridge. For seconds, only seconds, it's a surface duel straight out of a nightmare. Then Walker makes his move. Ram if necessary. The helmsman doesn't question it. The destroyer surges forward, bow rising, steel on steel inevitable. Fisher realizes it too late. Crash dive! But U-445 doesn't have time. The destroyer slams into her flank with a grinding, catastrophic impact. The U-boat rolls, snaps, and disappears beneath churning foam. Silence. Then wreckage. 3 submarines destroyed. The men aboard the destroyer are shaking now, not with fear, but with something heavier. They've stared into death and watched it blink first. But Walker isn't celebrating, because there is still one contact, and it's smarter than the rest. Deep below, U-378 has gone completely silent. No decoys. No movement. No mistakes. Its commander, Captain Lieutenant Ernst Weber, understands patience. He shuts down everything. The boat sinks deeper, slower, until the pressure gauge screams. His crew whispers prayers. On the surface, sonar pings return only emptiness. Lost him, sir? Walker nods slowly. This is the most dangerous moment. Fatigue is setting in. Crews have been at battle stations for hours. Ammunition is low. Fuel gauges creep downward. The easy choice would be to break off. Walker doesn't. He's still here, he says quietly. And he thinks he's won. Walker orders all ships to reduce speed. The sea grows eerily calm. No searchlights. No gunfire. Just moonless darkness. Minutes stretch. Then, barely perceptible. A sound. Not a ping. Not an echo. A mistake. A ballast adjustment too quick. A propeller turn too sharp. There! Walker whispers. He moved. The trap snaps shut. Destroyers converge. Sonar locks on. U-378 dives. But Walker has learned the pattern now. He predicts the depth. The angle. The escape vector. Pattern Charlie. Tight. Depth charges fall in rapid sequence. The ocean convulses. Inside U-378, lights go out. Men are thrown screaming. Hull plates buckle inward like tin. Water floods compartments faster than it can be stopped. Weber knows it's over. He orders abandon hope. Above, a massive air bubble bursts to the surface, followed by oil, debris, and then nothing. The final U-boat is gone. Walker removes his cap. For submarines destroyed. By moonlight. In a single night. The sea grows quiet again, as if ashamed of what it has witnessed. But dawn is coming. And with it, consequences no one yet understands. The first light arrives quietly. Not with triumph. Not with celebration. Just a thin gray line on the eastern horizon, slowly peeling the darkness away from the sea. The moon, once sharp and merciless, fades into nothing, a silent witness slipping from memory. The destroyers of second support group slow to cruising speed. Smoke drifts low over the water. Oil slicks stretch for miles, black scars on a pale morning ocean. Men finally sit. Some lean against bulkheads. Others stare at the sea without blinking. A few retch quietly over the rails, bodies catching up with the night's violence. Hands shake now that there's no immediate task to hold them steady. Walker remains on the bridge. He hasn't slept. He hasn't sat. His eyes are red, not from tears, but from hours of staring into darkness, daring it to blink first. The signal officer approaches, hesitating. Sir, confirmations are coming in. Walker nods once. For separate sinkings. For German submarines destroyed. Survivors minimal. Some picked from the water. Others lost with their boats, sealed into steel coffins hundreds of feet below. This will be counted as a victory. It doesn't feel like one. For separate sinkings. For German submarines destroyed. Survivors minimal. Some picked from the water. Others lost with their boats, sealed into steel coffins hundreds of feet below. This will be counted as a victory. It doesn't feel like one. Below decks, sailors speak in hushed tones. Not bragging. Not boasting. The stories are clipped, factual, stripped of emotion, because adding emotion might break something inside them. I saw it roll over, one says. The depth charges lifted us clean out of the water. They fired back, sir? Real close. Word spreads quickly through the fleet once radio silence is broken. Admirals who doubted night hunting ask for details. Intelligence officers lean in. Tactical officers start scribbling notes even before the full report arrives. Because something fundamental has shifted. Back in Britain, when Walker's signal finally reaches headquarters, the room goes quiet. An officer reads it twice. Then a third time. For U-boats? One night. Moonlight engagement. Someone mutters, "It can't be right." But it is. And the implications are staggering. For years, German submarines ruled the night. Surfacing freely. Attacking convoys under cover of darkness. Slipping away before escorts could react. Walker has just taken that darkness away from them. A junior officer finally breaks the silence. If this is repeatable... No one finishes the sentence. They don't have to. On the bridge, Walker finally allows himself to exhale. He watches the sun climb, illuminating wreckage, splintered planks, twisted metal, an oil-stained life jacket turning slowly in the swell. He thinks of the men who didn't surface. German sailors not so different from his own, cold, frightened, following orders, trusting their commanders. War doesn't allow room for sympathy, but it leaves space for memory. The executive officer approaches. "Sir, the men are calling it a miracle." Walker shakes his head. "No," he says quietly. Later, in after-action reports, analysts will highlight tactics, continuous attack doctrine, predictive depth patterns, aggressive surface engagement. They will diagram sonar arcs and depth charge spreads. What they won't capture is the feeling. The way the moon made everything too visible. The sound of steel tearing under pressure. The moment a torpedo wake appears out of nowhere, and you realize how thin the line is between hunter and wreckage. Within days, Walker's methods are circulated across the fleet. Night hunts increase. Support groups stop reacting and start seeking. German U-boat commanders begin reporting something new in their patrol logs. "The British do not break off. The attacks continue without pause. They seem to know where we will go." Morale inside the U-boat arm begins to crack. And in the Atlantic, convoy losses finally begin to fall. Walker never claims credit. When congratulated, he redirects praise to his crews. When questioned, he deflects. When asked if he feared death at night, he pauses longer than usual. "Fear," he says, "is useful. It keeps you sharp." He never adds what the men aboard already know. That courage, real courage, isn't loud. It stands on a freezing bridge at midnight, staring into moonlit water, and orders the attack anyway. As the destroyers turn toward home, the sea closes behind them. The oil slicks thin. The wreckage sinks. The ocean pretends it remembers nothing. But history does. Because from that night forward, the war beneath the waves changes direction. And the mission once labeled impossible becomes doctrine. Walker watches the horizon until land appears as a faint shadow. Only then does he allow himself to leave the bridge. The night is over. The moon is gone. And the Atlantic will never be the same again.